Have you ever wanted to learn to crochet, but you thought, where on earth do I start? I have the answer for you. It's right here, and it's today. The first thing you need to know are the supplies you're going to need to actually get started. You don't need any experience, and honestly, this is one of the funnest steps because yarn shopping and crochet hook shopping is the best thing ever, and who doesn't need a little retail therapy, you know? Before we get started, I wanted to say welcome back to my channel. I am Jessica Telford, or Jess Telford here on YouTube. I've been crocheting for 11 years, and I'm a mom of two. Well, one 2-year-old and one on the way, both boys. So life is kind of crazy town USA over here, but we still find time to crochet because it's what keeps us sane. We're going to start out with what crochet actually is, the actual dictionary definition of crochet. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, crochet is needlework consisting of the interlocking of looped stitches formed with a single thread and a hooked needle. Seems complicated at first, but I promise it's simple enough. Also, don't look up a hooked needle. I'm not really sure why it's phrased that way, but I always look up crochet hook. If you look up a hooked needle, you might not find what you're looking for. I'm not sure what you'll come across. The things you'll need to get started are actually pretty simple. So the things to buy would be yarn, of course. I like Wait For yarn to begin with. This I found at Hobby Lobby. They have a ton of cute colors and sizes, but I would look for a Wait For. Hello. Welcome home. Hi. I would look for a Wait For yarn. You'll see Wait For on the yarn label. So if you just look around, look at your yarn label, and you'll see the number 4 on a little skein of yarn, and that's how you'll know it's a Wait For yarn, or a medium worsted weight yarn, which is what I would recommend for a beginner. The next thing you'll need is a crochet hook. I've got this one. This is a 5mm crochet hook. It actually says, I don't know if you can see it, but it actually says 5mm on the handle of the crochet hook. I start that because it's easy to hold. It's not too big. It's not too small. And it's usually what the Wait For yarn recommends. Actually, for fun, let's look at the yarn label. This actually asks for a 5.5mm crochet hook. So go off of what your yarn label says, and then if you want to try different sizes and just see what feels comfortable to you, do it. The thing about crochet is you can really kind of personalize it to you. It might look a little different from your pattern if you do it a little bit differently, but you can always go with what feels comfortable for you or what you think looks best. The next thing I would recommend is just a pair of scissors. This is the simplest thing ever. I found this at the clearance section at Walmart. It was probably after school supplies got finished selling. You can use any scissors. Seriously. I wouldn't recommend kitchen scissors because don't mix poultry with your yarn. But any scissors you have on hand are just fine. You probably won't even need to buy any. Another thing I would recommend is a bag. I have this one. It's just a tote bag that I found at Walmart that I've had for a while. Repurpose it. Since I've been crocheting for a while, I do have a crochet specific bag to hold my projects in. But honestly, when you're just starting, a regular old tote bag that you have at home will work just fine. You can also use the bag that you brought the yarn home in is another option. So don't stress too much about that, but yeah, just a little bag to keep everything in. The next step is where to buy these supplies. Now that you have your shopping list, we need to know where we're shopping. My first recommendation as a beginner would be Walmart, which seems so surprising, but they do sell craft supplies at Walmart. And since you're probably going to be there doing your grocery shopping anyway, check out the craft aisle and see what they have. They have crochet hooks, they have various different kinds of yarn, they have scissors, they have bags, everything you need at Walmart. So check there first. But if you don't find anything that you like, there are also craft specific stores. My favorite is Hobby Lobby for beginners. And honestly, I got this yarn at Hobby Lobby. Finding this kind of yarn, they have so many options and colors, and it's a great yarn. So I shop at Hobby Lobby all the time still. If you are wanting a different kind of yarn or even maybe a higher quality or a higher price yarn, shop at Michael's. I really like Michael's for when I'm shopping for bigger weight yarns, but we won't get into that today. For regular weight yarn, Walmart, Hobby Lobby is just fine. You can also, if you prefer to do online shopping, you can do Amazon. Just be sure to check your descriptions to make sure you're getting the right size of hook and the right size of yarn for your project. Now that you have all your supplies, let's get into what you're actually going to start making. So I'm going to start you off on some beginner-friendly patterns. We have the Wildflower Dishcloth by Daisy Farms Crochet. Daisy Farms Crochet has a bunch of really cute crochet patterns. You can kind of look around, but their Wildflower Dishcloth is really, really good for a beginner. Simple stitches, easy repetition, just great practice. The next thing is the Crochet Hair Ribbon by Stitchberry. I found these things on Pinterest. Pinterest is a great resource for finding patterns. Just search in beginner crochet patterns and see what comes up and what you feel comfortable starting with. These are great options. Another great option is granny squares. I call them blanket squares because when I make a granny square, it makes me feel old. But also it's really cute. But search granny squares because that's what will come up. But granny squares are great. You can find a ton of tutorial videos on YouTube on how to make the granny squares. And honestly, they're so great for practice because you can just make a whole bunch of them. And they're super versatile. So once you've made a bunch of different squares, you can kind of turn them into just anything. I've seen people turn them into, and I've done this myself, bags. I've seen people do sweaters, blankets. They make great blankets. You can do all kinds of things with granny squares. Plus, granny squares are kind of trending right now. So it's kind of fun to be a little trendy. One tip I do have for you is to, I guess before you go shopping, I know, I said shop first, but before you go shopping, I would look at your pattern first because they might call for a slightly different size of crochet hook or something like that. And so you want to make sure you're getting the right supplies for your project before you go shopping and decide on the project. So that is a little tip for you. Another tip I have is if you're not sure how to do a certain stitch that they tell you in the pattern, YouTube is going to be your best friend. Seriously. Looking up videos on how to do certain stitches is a great resource to get started. If you like a little bit more in person, hopefully you have a friend who can show you. Otherwise, YouTube is going to be a great resource for finding out how to do certain stitches. If you liked today's video, be sure to watch out for my next one, which is going to be what not to buy as a crochet beginner, which I think will be just as helpful as what to buy as a crochet beginner because there's just so much out there, but we'll get into that in a little bit. And if you want some more beginner crochet patterns, I have some tutorials here on YouTube. You can see them right here. And I hope we just have lots of fun hanging out on YouTube together. So thanks for hanging out. Bye.